Yun Chujio was currently daydreaming, so she didn't care what Emo Junshin said at all. Therefore, after Emo Junshin said those harsh words, Yun Chujio didn't say anything at all. However, Emo Junshin thought that Yun Chujio was afraid of him, so he couldn't help but become even more arrogant. Country bumpkin, at least you know what's good for you. Move out in a while, or else I won't be polite. Yun Chujio was still thinking about whether to eat roadside stalls or big restaurants, so she still didn't say anything. Emo Junshin saw that Yun Chujio was so weak, so he couldn't help but be very proud. He walked to old Madame Liu's side and acted coquettishly. Grandmother, Country Bumpkin agreed. Tell grandfather to let me move to hear he xian. Old Madame Liu tapped his forehead. You are really naughty. Wait until I see your grandfather help you speak up, but grandmother can't guarantee that it will succeed. You haven't eaten breakfast yet, right? In Hong, get someone to bring over Jun Chen's favorite breakfast. In Hong agreed and left to make the arrangements. Mo Fangqin couldn't help but feel puzzled. Something wasn't right. Why was the country bumpkin so easy to talk to? Could it be that this fellow was holding back some bad water? With Mo Junshin's appearance, everyone's topic and focus shifted to him. When old Madame Liu heard everyone praising Mo Junshin, her old face smiled like a flower. When the breakfast was served, Yun Chujio, this fellow, finally ended her daydream. Her eyes shone as they fell on the table. Oh my, the damned old woman's breakfast looks pretty good. Since that's the case, let's settle the breakfast here. Grandmother, you really care about us too much. How did you know that third sister and I didn't eat breakfast? Yun Chujio directly sat down in front of the dining table and picked up her chopsticks to eat. Needless to say, the taste was really not bad. Yun Chujio waved at Mo Fangqin as she ate. Third sister, what are you standing there for? Come and eat breakfast. Don't waste grandmother's good intentions. Before Mo Fangqin could speak, Mo Junshin was furious. Country bumpkin. Grandmother prepared this breakfast for me. How dare you eat it? Get out of my way. Mo Junshin pointed at Yun Chujio and scolded. Yun Chujio looked up at him. Are you talking to me? Nonsense. Of course I'm talking to you. On account of you being obedient and listening to He Xian, I'll let you off this time. Get up quickly, or I won't be polite. Yun Chujio picked up a steamed dumpling and ate it slowly. She said indifferently, When did I agree to give Tingyi Xian to you? Country bumpkin, do you still want to deny it? When I asked you just now, didn't you acquiesce? Let me tell you, if you don't give up Tingyi Xian, I'll make you and your maid become drowning dogs. Mo Junshin said arrogantly. Yun Chujio picked up another steamed dumpling and said indifferently, Did you make Qingji fall into the water? Humph. That's right, it was made by me. How could a country bumpkin like you want to eat a lotus seed pod? Are you worthy? Father and mother shouldn't have brought you back. A waste like you is not worthy of the identity of the eldest daughter of the Mo family's second son. Get out of my way, this is my breakfast. Mo Junshin and Mo Fanghua were blood-related siblings. Naturally, they couldn't stand the fact that their blood-related elder sister's status as the eldest daughter of the Mo family had been stolen by Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio glanced at Mo Junshin and didn't say anything. She slowly continued to eat her breakfast. Mo Junshin saw that Yun Chujio still didn't move aside, so he couldn't help but become angry out of humiliation. He flipped the dining table over in an instant. I'll let you eat. I'll let you eat. You country bumpkin, do you deserve to eat my breakfast? Even though Mo Junshin was causing trouble, old Madame Liu and Wu Shi did not speak out to stop him. Instead, they all looked like they were watching a show. Old Madame Liu indulged and doted on Mo Junshin, while Wu Shi and Niu Shi were gloating over his misfortune. In any case, Mo Junshin and Yun Chujio were both from the second branch, so they naturally did not want the second branch to have internal strife. Mo Junshin flipped over the table and was very pleased with himself. Just as he was about to mock Yun Chujio a few more times, Yun Chujio suddenly stretched out her hand and slapped Mo Junshin twice. Mo Junshin was stunned by the slap. He had never been hit before in his entire life, not to mention getting slapped twice. Yun Chujio took advantage of his stunned moment and directly restrained his spiritual power. She also secretly poked Mo Junshin's acupoints. Yun Chujio pointed at his nose and scolded, "You idiot! Little master? Whose little master are you? Don't tell me you still want to be grandfather's brother. You didn't say anything? Then it's a tacit agreement? I'll teach you a good lesson today, you disobedient and unfilial bastard." Yun Chujio raised her hand and gave Mo Junshin another 2 big slaps. Our Mo family is a sensible and sensible family. How could there be a bastard like you who disobeys his elders and disrespects his elder sister? Tell me, are you wrong? Mo Junshin's spiritual power was restricted and he could not move or speak. His eyes were red with anxiety and he could not help but blame old Madame Lu for not saving him. Of course, old Madame Lu would not sit idly by. The main reason was that Yun Chujio's attack was too sudden. She did not even have time to react. At this moment, she saw that her precious grandson's face was swollen. She immediately flew into a rage. "Bitch! Stop!" At the same time, the old woman beside old Madame Lu suddenly leaped forward and slapped Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio's eyes darkened. She grabbed Mo Junshin and blocked in front of her. The old woman had no choice but to forcefully withdraw her hand. She took a few steps back before she stood still. It could be seen that she had used all her strength just now. If Yun Chujio could not avoid it, she would definitely be severely injured. Yun Chujio pointed at the old woman. "You old bitch! Did you have any part in the master's actions? What does it have to do with you that I am teaching my younger brother a lesson as an elder sister? What you owe your son makes you look old. Besides, didn't you see that my younger brother Junshin did not say a word? He has already realized his mistake. Get lost." Old Madame Lu was so angry that she almost fainted. Of course, she could tell that Yun Chujio was referring to the mulberry tree and scolding the locust tree. It was really the opposite. Wu Shi and Lu Shi were dumbstruck. Was this Mo Fangkeo's brain lacking a string? She actually disobeyed old Madame Lu so much. Wasn't she looking for trouble? Damn it. I told you to send us rotten cabbages and punish you severely. Old Madame Lu took a deep breath and softened her tone. "Jun, come to grandmother." Old Madame Lu naturally did this because she wanted Mo Junshin to go over and then get someone to teach Yun Chujio a lesson so that she wouldn't be too cautious. Unexpectedly, Mo Junshin didn't move at all. He didn't even say a word. Yun Chujio said with a smile, "Grandmother, Junshin has already realized his mistakes, so he's prepared to let me teach him the principles of being a person again. So you can just watch." After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she pointed at Mo Junshin and scolded, "You little bastard! Do you know that you are the shame of our Mo family? You are only at the 3rd level of the spiritual venerable realm at the age of 13, and you have the nerve to call me a waste. Are you trying to say that I'm only at the 2nd level of the spiritual venerable realm and not worthy to talk about you? Ichimich, you have to know that the spiritual qi in the Tianyuan continent where I am located is extremely thin. My 2nd level of the spiritual venerable realm is even more precious than the 9th level of the spiritual venerable realm in your immortal Yuan continent. Moreover, what is there to be proud of? Without the Mo family and grandmother's love, what are you? You are nothing." Yun Chujio slapped Mo Junshin twice. "It's fine if you're a waste of spiritual power, but you don't even know the basic principles of being a human. What's the point of you living? Qing Ji may be my maid now, but she's actually my grandmother's maid. You're disrespecting my grandmother by bullying her for no reason. You call yourself young master and you wish to be on the same level as my grandfather. That is even more disrespectful. You disobedient and unfilial thing. I will not go overboard even if I beat you to death today." Old Madame Lu saw that Mo Junshin's face was swollen like a pig's head. She could not sit still anymore and directly jumped down. "Little slut, stop. Or else I will kill you, you unfilial thing." Yun Chujio gave her a bright smile, and then suddenly threw Mo Junshin into old Madame Liu's arms. Taking advantage of the situation, she pulled Mo Fangqin and rushed out. Mo Fangqin's heart was like a beeping dog. "If you want to run, then run. Why are you pulling me? Aren't you making grandmother think that I'm on your side?" You black-hearted country bumpkin, even if I become a ghost, I won't forgive you. Tears streamed down Emo Fankin's face. She could only follow Yun Chujio and run wildly because she knew that old Madame Lu was about to go crazy from anger. She would not listen to her explanation. If she caught her, she would definitely give her a good beating. Seeing that Yun Chujio actually dared to run, old Madame Lu went crazy from anger. She cursed angrily, "All of you, chase after her together. I must teach this little slut a good lesson today." Emo Junshin's acupoints had already been opened by Yun Chujio. She even cried and scolded, "Grandmother, you have to make a decision for me. I don't know what sorcery that slut used just now. I couldn't move or speak just now. My face hurts." Old Madame Liu's heart was filled with heartache and precious comfort. "Good grandson, don't worry. Grandmother will definitely capture that little slut and let you take revenge personally. What are you all standing there for? Hurry up and chase after her." "Grandmother, I'll go too. I was just careless just now. This time, I'll definitely teach her a good lesson and let her know how powerful I am." After Emo Junshin finished speaking, he broke free from old Madame Lu and rushed out in anger. Seeing this, old Madame Lu could only chase after him worriedly. "Good grandson, slow down. Be careful of hitting her." When Wu Shi and Lady Niu saw this, they could not help but secretly curl their lips. This damn old woman was the most biased. It was as if she only had Emo Junshin as her grandson. Although that country bumpkin was detestable, they had to admit that they had really beaten him up to vent their hatred. They were gloating in their hearts, but on the surface, they looked like they had a common enemy. They also chased after Emo Junshin. Yun Chujio shouted as she ran, "Help! Help! Junshin is crazy. He's going to kill someone. Get out of the way. Quickly get out of the way. Be careful not to get blood on your body. Junshin is most likely possessed by a pig spirit. Kill whoever you see. If you don't want to die, get out of the way." What the hell? Young Master Junshin has gone crazy? Possessed by a pig spirit? What's going on? The servants were all dumbfounded. However, when they saw Emo Junshin chasing after them, they were so frightened that they ran in all directions. Damn it, wasn't young Master Junshin's face like a pig's head? Moreover, his eyes were completely red. Even if he wasn't possessed by a pig spirit, he had gone mad. It was too scary. Emo Junshin saw that the servants did not help to stop Yun Chujio. Instead, they tried to avoid her and scolded, "Stop that bitch, or I will kill all of you." When the servants heard Emo Junshin's words, they were so frightened that they ran in all directions. Damn, it was just as Miss Fangchao had said. Young Master Junshin had really gone mad, killing everyone he saw. When the servants saw old Madame Lu and the others chasing after them, they believed Yun Chujio's words even more. Old Madame Lu and the others must have realized that young Master Junshin had gone mad and wanted to capture him back. We'd better hide as far away as possible to avoid being ordered to capture young Master Junshin. What if a madman kills us? Old Madame Lu saw that the servants were all running away as if they had seen a ghost. She was so angry that she was convulsing. She shouted loudly, "Are you all dead? Hurry up and help." When those servants heard old Madame Liu's words, they ran even faster. In any case, the law did not punish the masses, and old Madame Lu could not punish them one by one. Moreover, even if they were to be punished, it was still better than losing their lives. Young Master Junshin looked like he had gone crazy. He even wanted to kill his own sister. If they went up, they would definitely lose their lives. Emo Fangqin felt that both her legs were no longer hers. She had never run so fast in her life, and her heart was filled with fear. How was she going to end up in such a big mess? However, Yun Chujio said with a smile, "Third sister, are you surprised? Are you happy?" Emo Fangqin really wanted to strangle this troublemaker to death. Although it was very satisfying to see Emo Junshin, who had always been arrogant and domineering, beaten into a pig's head. Once he was caught by her grandmother, he would probably lose half his life. "Third sister, don't worry. Since I dared to hit him, I have a way to cure him. Don't worry, not only will we not be punished, that little fool will also apologize to us." Yun Chujio said with a smile as she ran. Mo Fankin's heart skipped a beat. You're going to look for grandfather to make the decision? You're not too stupid. We have the support of the big boss, so why are we afraid of a little bastard like him? Yun Chujio said proudly. Big what? Big leopard? Was this country bumpkin crazy? To actually call grandfather a leopard, he was too bold. Just as Mo Fangqin was thinking about it, she heard Yun Chujio say, however, we can't go like this. Quickly cry, the more sad you cry, the better. We still have to sing a bitter love scene later. Mo Fangqin did not have the acting skills of Yun Chujio. She held back her tears for a long time before she managed to squeeze out a few drops. Seeing this, Yun Chujio stuffed a bag of things into her hands. Use this. I guarantee that your face will be filled with tears immediately. Mo Fangqin saw the thing that Yun Chujio handed over and was so angry that she almost fell down. Chili noodles? You're really mean. However, in order to not be punished, she could only go all out. Mo Fangqin put a bit of chili noodles into her eyes and then kept the remaining chili noodles. As expected, not only were her tears gushing out like a fountain, but her eyes were also red. The effect was so good that it was a 5-star review. Yun Chujio had her own acting bag. She did not need any external help. She rubbed her eyes and immediately burst into tears. If one did not know better, they would have thought that she had nothing left to live for. The two of them ran all the way to Mo Ziyading's study room. When the guards saw that they were back, the corners of their mouths twitched. Did Miss Fang Chao and Miss Fang Qin take the wrong medicine today? They had come early in the morning with a tree branch on their back, and now they were here with snot and tears in their eyes. What were they trying to do? Just as the guards were in a daze, they heard Yun Chujio shout, "Grandfather! Dear grandfather! Help! Your granddaughter is going to be beaten to death." Inside, Mo shouting heard Yun Chujio's wails and couldn't help but frown. What was this Mo Fangqin up to this time? At this moment, Mo Junshin caught up to him. Bitch! How dare you hit me? I'm going to kill you. Yun Chujio couldn't help but sneer in her heart. How stupid! Yun Chujio said pitifully, Junshin, let's talk things over. Don't shout and shout about killing. It's really too scary. The corner of Mo Fankin's eyes twitched violently. This country bumpkin style had changed so quickly. Who was the one who scolded Mo Junshin just now? Who was the one who beat Mo Junshin into a pig's head just now? Who was the one who pointed at Sang Huai and scolded his grandmother just now? Mo Junshin was also stunned when he saw Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin crying profusely. He said arrogantly, Bitch, do you know fear now? It's too late. Let me tell you, I won't forgive you. Not only will I give you a good beating, but I will also throw you into the lotus pond and soak you for 3 days and 3 nights. And you, Mo Fangqin, you bitch. You are usually as obedient as a dog. I didn't expect you to bite me back now. You're really bitch. Mo Fankin's long-standing unwillingness and resentment exploded at this moment. She rushed to Mo Junshin and gave him a slap on his swollen pig-like face. Mo Fangqin was stunned after the slap, and so was Mo Junshin. This slap was even more shocking than the few slaps Yun Chujio had given him. This Mo Fangqin, who was usually like a lapdog, actually dared to hit him? Mo Fangqin regretted it after the slap. It was over. Not only would Madame Luo not let her off, but she would also make things difficult for Auntie Chio. What should they do? Mo Junshin came back to his senses and raised his foot to kick Mo Fangqin. Mo Fangqin was in a daze and had no reaction at all. Yun Chujio pushed Mo Fangqin away and hid behind a guard. She cried out in pain, Oh my God, this is too scary. Grandfather, come out quickly. Junshin, this idiot, wants to kill me and my 3rd sister. Yun Chujio's shout gave the guard a fright. This Miss Fang Chao's voice was really loud, and his ears were ringing. Mo Junshin saw Yun Chujio hiding behind the guard, and did not even consider whether he would hurt the guard. He slapped the guard, Get lost, or I'll kill you too. Although the guard did not dare to retaliate, he was not stupid enough to stand there and take a beating. Hence, he jumped to the side and dodged Mo Junshin's attack. As for Yun Chujio, who was behind him, she had already run behind another guard. She said 2 words to Emo Junshin silently, "Idiot." Emo Junshin was so angry that he almost went crazy. He slapped the guard again, and the guard naturally dodged. Yun Chujio moved behind another guard. When old Madame Lu arrived, she saw Emo Fangqin standing at the side in a daze. Emo Junshin crazily attacked the guards in the study while Yun Chujio nimbly dodged to the side. "Junshin, stop! Don't disturb your grandfather." Old Madame Lu was much smarter than Emo Junshin. How could this be a place to mess around? "Grandmother, these 2 little bitches are really too detestable. I must teach them a lesson today." Emo Junshin was about to go crazy from anger. He had never suffered such a huge loss before. The pain on his face was secondary. The main thing was that it was too embarrassing. Old Madame Lu comforted Emo Junshin a few times before she said fiercely to Yun Chujio and Fangqin, "The 2 of you obediently follow me back to the main courtyard. Otherwise, you can forget about taking another step out of the Emo residence in the future." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Emo Fangqin couldn't help but shiver. She obviously understood the hidden meaning behind old Madame Liu's words. If she didn't obediently accept the punishment today, then she would very likely be imprisoned in the old mansion forever. She might even lose her life silently. Emo Fangqin's heart was filled with resentment and unwillingness. They were both descendants of the Emo family. Why could Emo Junshin do whatever he wanted? Why could Emo Fanghua receive her father's love even though they were both girls? Why was this so? However, even if she was unwilling, what could she do? How could a small arm be able to twist over a thigh? Grandfather did not come out for a long time, which meant that he did not want to stand up for them at all. Emo Fangqin looked at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio said pitifully to old Madame Lu, "Grandmother, although you dote on Junshin, you can't not distinguish between right and wrong. Junshin, this rebellious and unfilial thing, actually wants to stand shoulder to shoulder with grandfather. Does he want to go to heaven? You little slut. How dare you scold your elders? What are you all standing there for? Arrest this little slut." Old Madame Liu's prestige was repeatedly provoked. She couldn't care less about the many guards here and directly cursed. The old woman beside old Madame Lu immediately jumped towards Yun Chujio when she heard that. She stretched out her hand to grab Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio repeated the same trick and continued to dodge behind the guards. These guards could have dodged, but after being threatened by Emo Junshin, they could not help but feel a little dissatisfied. Therefore, they secretly cooperated with Yun Chujio to dodge. Although that old woman was old Madame Liu's trusted aide, she did not dare to hurt the family head's guards for no reason. Therefore, after grabbing for a long time, she did not even touch the corner of Yun Chujio's clothes. However, Yun Chujio's mouth did not stop. She wailed loudly, "Grandfather, come out quickly. This crafty old woman wants to kill me. Grandfather, help. If you don't come out now, you will only see my corpse." Old Madame Lu was so angry that her head was buzzing. This little slut must have done it on purpose. If the master was disturbed, he would definitely blame her. What are you waiting for? Tack together. Tie these 2 little bitches up. Old Madame Lu said to the maids beside her. Old Madame Lu looked at Wu Shi and Yo Shi. Both of you attack together. Although Wu Shi and Yo Shi only wanted to quietly watch the show, they did not dare to not move after hearing old Madame Liu's orders. Hence, the 2 of them rushed towards Emo Fangqin. The 2 of them were very shrewd. Compared to Yun Chujio, Emo Fangqin was too easy to catch. Catching one of them would be considered as giving an explanation. Emo Fangqin was not as bold as Yun Chujio. She was obediently imprisoned by Wu Shi and Yo Shi and brought before old Madame Lu. Old Madame Lu couldn't catch Yun Chujio, so she vented her anger on Emo Fangqin. She slapped Emo Fangqin. "Little slut. You are only a concubine's daughter. Do you think you can rebel?" Blood immediately flowed out from the corner of Emo Fangqin's mouth. It was clear how much strength old Madame Lu had used. In the past, Emo Fangqin would definitely kneel on the ground and beg for mercy. But now, she did not want to. Her heart was filled with resentment and unwillingness. She just stood there stubbornly and did not say a word. Seeing that she refused to admit her mistake, old Madame Liu's anger grew. She raised her hand and was about to slap Mo Fangqin again when she heard someone clearly say, "Grandmother, if you dare to hit my third sister, I'll hit your precious grandson." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Old Madame Lu raised her head and saw that Mo Junshin was once again blocked in front of her by Yun Chujio. Furthermore, Yun Chujio was holding a rolling pin in her hand and was looking at her provocatively. "You've rebelled. You've rebelled. You little slut. I think you don't want to stay in the Mo family anymore. If you dare to touch a single hair on Junshin's head, I'll take your life." Old Madame Lu was so angry that she was trembling. This wretched girl was really too detestable. She was just as detestable as that slut from before. Although Mo Junshin could not move this time, Yun Chujio did not hit his mute acupoint, therefore, she cursed loudly, "Slut! You motherless slut! You country bumpkin from a low-grade continent, I won't let you off. Just you wait, sooner or later, I'll sell you to the Cauldron Hall and let you ride thousands of people." Before Mo Junshin could say anything, he was replaced by a scream because Yun Chujio swung the rolling pin and smashed it on Mo Junshin's calves. Crack, crack. Everyone heard two muffled sounds. Mo Junshin's calves were actually broken by Yun Chujio. Everyone was shocked by this change. Was this country bumpkin crazy? Although it was said that a broken calf bone could be cured with medicine, Mo Junshin would not be able to walk on the ground for at least half a year. This attack was too ruthless. Wu Shi and the others could not help but shiver. Although this country bumpkin's spiritual power was low, his attack was too vicious. Even his own younger brother could do it. It was better to stay away from her in the future. However, there was probably no future. She had severely injured the old madame's precious treasure. According to old Madame Liu's personality, she would definitely not let her off. She might even take her little life. Mo Fangqin's head buzzed. Her heart was filled with anxiety and anger. There was also a hint of bitterness. Was this country bumpkin avenging her? Was she worth it for a country bumpkin to do this? Everyone was eerily silent. Only Mo Junshin was crying miserably with snot flowing down his nose. "Grandmother! Save me! It hurts so much! Grandmother, quickly kill this bitch!" Old Madame Liu's heart ached and she was furious. "Little bitch! I won't forgive you! I won't forgive you!" The rolling pin in Yun Chujio's hand had been pointing at Mo Junshin, so that old woman did not dare to act rashly. She could only watch. Yun Chujio said with a smile, "Grandmother, I'm doing this for the sake of our Mo residents. Junshin is such a stupid person. If he goes out he will only cause trouble. You can't bear to deal with him, so I can only break his leg so that he can calm down." Old Madame Lu was so angry that she almost fainted. "You're bullshit. Little bitch, I will personally catch you now. I want to see if you dare to hit me too." After old Madame Lu finished speaking, she leaped towards Yun Chujio. At the same time, that old woman also made her move. Even if Yun Chujio had Mo Junshin as a shield, it was impossible for her to dodge the attack of two people. Moreover, she could not really kill Mo Junshin. If she really killed him, then it would be a dead end. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and was about to escape when she heard a low voice coming from the courtyard. "Stop!" Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. This old fox was really patient. He only appeared after forcing her into a corner. Was he trying to make her feel grateful? "Old fox, you're thinking too much. Originally, I only wanted to hug your leg. The rest were just stepping stones for me to climb up." As soon as Mo shouting spoke, old Madame Lu and the old woman stopped in their tracks. Yun Chujio couldn't help but curse in her heart. It looked like Mo Xiaoding's authority was supreme in the Mo family. He had chosen the right thigh. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and sneakily kicked Mo Junshin. Mo Junshin was in so much pain that he couldn't even feel it. Everyone's attention was focused on the courtyard door. With Mo Junshin's body covering them, no one noticed Yun Chujio's actions. Soon, The courtyard door opened and Mo shouting walked out. Mo Xiating's face was dark. What's going on? Don't you know this is my study room? Old Madame Lu said angrily, Old master, this bitch is too much. She broke Junshin's leg. This bitch doesn't deserve to stay in the Mo residence. She should be kicked out. After hearing old Madame Liu's words, Mo shouting turned to look at the wailing Mo Junshin on the ground. Although the old woman had already fed him pills to stop the pain and bleeding, the pain was still unbearable. Mo shouting furrowed his brows as his expression darkened. Everyone present did not dare to breathe. They knew that Mo shouting was angry. Boss wife, why don't you tell us what happened? If you dare to lie, Mo shouting looked at Wushi. Wushi thought to herself, what bad luck. How did she end up being the one being questioned? But she didn't dare to keep it a secret. So, she had no choice but to bite the bullet and tell her the whole story. She didn't dare to lie. Everything she said was the truth. Mo Xiating's expression remained dark. Since you've seen the entire process, tell us who was at fault and how we should deal with it. Wu Shi's heart tightened. She did not believe that Mo shouting had asked for no reason. He must be testing her. Although Mo Peng was the eldest son, it was hard to say who would be in charge of the Mo residence in the future, so she could not make a mistake in her answer. Wu Shi tried to figure out what Mo shouting and old Madame Lu were thinking and said, Father, according to my daughter-in-law, this incident was caused by Fang Chao. So, she is the main culprit. Although Junshin was a little stubborn, it wasn't a big deal. As an older sister, Fang Chao shouldn't have broken Junshin's leg with such a heavy hand. Moreover, Fang Chao had repeatedly contradicted her grandmother. She was simply disobedient and unfilial. As a younger sister, Fang Qin did not stop her in time and even messed around with her. So, she should be punished as well. However, the punishment should be a little lighter. After hearing Wu Shi's words, Mo Xiating's expression softened a little. He then asked, if I hand her over to you, what do you plan to do with Fang Chao and Fang Qin? Seeing that Mo Xiating's expression had softened, Wu Shi felt a little more confident. Father, my daughter-in-law feels that Fang Chao should be punished severely for disobeying my grandmother and beating up my younger brother. However, if we kick her out of the Mo residence, it would be a joke to outsiders, so we should lock her up. If there is a suitable family in the future, we can marry her off and make a contribution to the Mo residence. Fang Qin is an accomplice, so she can be given a lighter sentence. Let the second sister-in-law deal with her. Mo Fang Qin couldn't help but sneer in her heart. First Aunt really had a good plan. On the surface, it seemed like she would be given a lighter sentence, but if she ended up in Madame Luo's hands, she would lose at least half her life. The punishment for the country bumpkins was even more ruthless. A suitable family? It was likely that they would have to marry the country bumpkin to someone else as a concubine or marry a fool or something like that in order to exchange for some benefits. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. After hearing Wu Shi's words, Mo Xiating's expression did not change. Instead, he turned to look at his third sister-in-law. What do you think? Niu Shi felt that this was a good opportunity to suppress Wu Shi. Since Mo shouting was asking her, it was probably because he wasn't satisfied with Wu Shi's treatment. It meant that the treatment was too lenient, so she said, Father, Fang Chao's actions were too much. Not only did she severely injure Junshin, she also angered Mother. Most importantly, her clamor had an extremely bad effect. Second brother and second sister-in-law finally managed to get her back. Not only was she ungrateful, she even bullied her younger brother. What an ingrate! If it were up to me, I would have broken her leg as well. This is a way of returning the favor. After that, I would lock her up and wait for a suitable family to marry out. Although Fang Qin was an accomplice, as a concubine's daughter, she actually dared to beat up the son of the first wife. This is an unpardonable crime. Although she doesn't need to break her leg, she should still be locked up and married off to a suitable family in the future. Mo shouting remained silent after hearing what Niu Core said. He then turned to Mo Fang's Huang and the other two. The three of you, tell us your thoughts. Mo Fangshuang and the other two naturally agreed with their mother. They all wanted Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin to be severely punished because everything was their fault. Mo Shouting was non-committal as he asked, "Then, do you think Mo Junshin is at fault?" Mo Fangshuang quickly replied, "Grandfather, although brother Junshin is a little naughty, his nature is kind. As he grows older, he will become more mature. It's normal for boys to be naughty." Mo Fangmin and Mo Fanghui also agreed, "Yes, grandfather. Brother Junshin has always been filial. This time, he was angered by Mo Fangchao and that's why he was so angry. Plus, at such a young age his leg was broken by that vicious Mo Fangchao. How pitiful." Mo Shouting looked at old Madame Lu. "Are they telling the truth?" "Old master, what they're saying is the truth. These two bitches have gone too far. My poor Junshin has suffered so much. He deserves to be killed." Old Madame Lu said as she glared at Yun Chujio. Mo Shouting nodded his head and looked at Mo Junshin. "Junshin, is everything your grandmother said correct?" Mo Junshin gritted his teeth. "Grandfather, that's right. It was Mo Fangqin that broke my leg and that bitch gave me a slap. Grandfather, you have to help me. Yesterday, were you the one who sent someone to bring Fankin's maid into the lotus pond?" Mo Shouting asked in a deep voice. "Yes. I ordered someone to do it. Mo Fangchao is a country bumpkin who doesn't deserve to live in Tingxian, let alone eat a lotus pod. She is a piece of trash." Mo Junshin said arrogantly. "Fangchao doesn't deserve to live in Tingxian. Is that why you want her to give up Tingxian?" Mo Shouting asked coldly. "That's right. Only I have the right to live in Tingxian. What right does a bitch like her have to live in Tingxian? Grandfather, why would you allow them to live in Tingxian? They don't deserve to live in Tingxian." After all, old Madame Lu had been married to Mo Shouting for many years. She felt that something was wrong, so she quickly interrupted, "Old master, we still need to find a doctor to treat Jun Chen's injury. What do you plan to do with the two bitches?" Mo Shouting looked deeply at old Madame Lu, then he glanced at Wu Shi and the others. "A bunch of idiots. After Jun Chen's injury is healed, hand him over to Fang Chao. If he dares to disobey, Fang Chao, go ahead and break his leg to prevent him from causing trouble." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Everyone thought their ears were playing tricks on them. Was the family head crazy? Mo Shouting continued, "Fang Chao is right. Mo Junshin, you call yourself young master. Whose young master are you? You call your own sister a slut. She is a slut. What are you? As the master of the Mo family, how could you be so smug after bullying a maid instead of training properly? A fool like you will only implicate the Mo family in the future. If you still don't repent, I will kill you so that you won't bring disaster to the Mo family." Mo Junshin was so frightened by Mo Xiaoting's fierce gaze that he almost peed himself. He quickly hugged old Madame Liu's thigh as his entire body trembled. Old Madame Lu said unhappily, "Old master, what are you saying? How can you listen to the little bitch's one-sided words?" "Shut up. What did Fang Chao say? It's all your words. It's all your grandmother's fault that a good child has become like this. How dare you call your granddaughter a little bitch? You've really disappointed me. If you can't manage the house well, then hand over the position of housekeeper. I will find a suitable person to replace you," Mo Shouting said coldly. If this idiot hadn't given birth to 3 sons, she would have already divorced her. Hearing Mo Xiaoting's words, old Madame Lu did not dare to say a word. Mo Shouting turned to look at Wu Shi and the others. "As for you guys, all you know is to curry favor. Don't you have your own judgment? If your son treated his sisters like this, would you still say that? You guys have really disappointed me." Wu Shi and Niu Shi's faces were flushed red as they quickly apologized. Mo Fangshuang and the other two also lowered their heads and admitted their mistakes. "Forget it. At least you guys are timid and won't cause any big trouble. Disperse. By the way, I have an announcement to make. From tomorrow onwards, Fang Chao and Fang Qin will accompany me to the study room to read," Mo Shouting said. He then turned around and walked into the courtyard. "What?" Mo Fangchao and Mo Fangqin would be allowed to accompany the master in the study room? Everyone was unable to process what Mo shouting had just said. How was this possible? Even the master's grandson wasn't allowed to enter the study room, so why would Mo Fangchao and Mo Fangqin be allowed to enter? What did this mean? Wu Shi's mind spun the fastest. She thought back to Mo Xiaoding's request for Madame Lu to hand over the housekeeper's authority. Could it be that Mo Fangchao was going to be the housekeeper in the future? Wasn't this nonsense? Putting aside whether Mo Fangchao had the right or not, she was a girl who was going to get married in the future. How could she be the housekeeper? Was the head of the family crazy? She had lost so much face in front of the younger generation. Old Madame Lu was both embarrassed and angry. She rolled her eyes and fainted. In an instant, everything was in a mess. Wu Shi and Niu Shi ordered people to carry old Madame Lu and Mo Junshin and arranged for a doctor to treat them. Yun Chujio was the only one watching from the side with her arms crossed. By the time everyone carried Mo Junshin onto the soft bed, the man spoke. Mo Junin, apologize to me and third sister immediately. Otherwise, I will make you lie on the bed forever. If you don't believe me, you can try. You little bitch. Don't even think about it. Mo Junshin felt that Mo shouting must have lost his mind from anger. That was why he said those words. He was sure that he would change his mind in the future. Yun Chujio put away the rolling pin and took out a large kitchen knife. She walked over to the soft bed and lifted the two guards. Their legs felt weak. What was Miss Fangchao trying to do? She wasn't going to kill young Master Junshin, was she? If old Madame Lu hadn't fainted, the guards would still have some backbone in their hearts. But now, they really couldn't do anything to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio took the big kitchen knife and rubbed it against Mo Junshin's face. Junshin, I always keep my word. If you don't apologize, I'll draw a little bastard on your face. If you really dare to do it, grandmother, father, and mother will not forgive you. TSK, you're really naive. Are those people that you mentioned as powerful as grandfather? Grandfather dotes on me the most right now, so no one dares to touch me. I'll count to 3. If you don't apologize, I'll make a move. Yun Chujio said in a nasty manner. She looked as arrogant as she could be. Mo Junshin was terrified. He gritted his teeth and said, I'm sorry. Speak louder, I didn't hear you. Besides, you should at least have someone to apologize to. Don't tell me that you can't even speak properly. Idiot. Yun Chujio took the large kitchen knife and patted Mo Junshin's face. Mo Junshin could even feel the cold air from the large kitchen knife. He was so scared that he hurriedly shouted, Big sister, third sister, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's more like it. You can leave now. Don't worry, I'll visit you often while you're recuperating. Yun Chujio waved the large kitchen knife and said with a smile. Mo Junshin couldn't help but shiver and hurriedly ordered the two guards to leave. Yun Chujio walked to Wu Shi and Niu Shi's side again. First aunt, third aunt, thank you for telling the truth just now. If you did not tell the truth, grandfather would not know the truth of the matter. After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she held the large kitchen knife and looked at the two people with a smile that was not a smile. Wu Shi and Niu Shi felt a chill on their backs and said embarrassedly, Fangchao, about that, we still have to go and see your grandmother, so we'll leave first. Yun Chujio said with a smile, Aunt, third aunt, although it's easy to be a fence-sitter, you still have to judge the direction of the wind. If you go in the wrong direction, I'm sorry, but we can only pull it down from the wall. Wu Shi and Niu Shi naturally knew what Yun Chujio meant. They looked at each other and left quickly with Mo Fanghuang and the other two without saying a word. After walking for a distance, Mo Fanghuang said hatefully, What's wrong with grandfather? He actually protected that country bumpkin Mo Fangchao so much. Yeah, that country bumpkin is simply too arrogant. She doesn't even put grandmother, first aunt, and my mother in her eyes. Could it be that she really wants to take over grandmother's management rights? Mo Fangmin also said angrily. Madame Niu rolled her eyes. Sister-in-law, although our sister-in-law usually has some small conflicts, it's not a big deal. Right now, this Mo Fangchao is our common enemy. If we don't get rid of her, perhaps the family head will really hand over the authority as a housekeeper to her. Madame Wu snorted coldly. She's just a little girl at the second layer of the spiritual venerable realm. The family head might not mean that. Let's observe and see. Besides, there's still Mother. She won't let this matter rest. She will definitely seek revenge. Niu Shi's eyes lit up. Sister-in-law, you are the smartest. Yes, there's still Mother. Mother will definitely think of a way to deal with that country bumpkin. Furthermore, Luo Shi isn't someone to be trifled with. If she were to hear that her precious son's leg was broken, she will definitely not let this matter rest. Let's just watch the show. On the other side, Yun Chujio took out a porcelain bottle and handed it to Mo Fangqin. Wipe it on your face. You will be back to normal by tomorrow morning. Mo Fangqin took the porcelain bottle and did not say a word. Yun Chujio did not probe further. Let's go to the kitchen. I'm starving from the torment. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. The corner of Mo Fangqin's eyes twitched. After such a big commotion, this fellow actually had the mood to go to the big kitchen to look for food. There was really no one else. Although Yun Chujio did not know where the big kitchen was, Mo Fangqin did. Hence, the two of them took a detour to the big kitchen. The gossip spread the fastest. Yun Chujio's heroic deeds had long spread. The servants in the big kitchen all nodded and bowed. What a joke! This country bumpkin even dared to break young Master Jun Chen's legs. How would they dare to provoke him? Therefore, Yun Chujio emptied the delicious food in the big kitchen and returned to Tingyi Xian with Mo Fangqin in high spirits. Qin Lu and Qin Ji had also heard about the incident. Therefore, as soon as Yun Chujio entered the courtyard, Qin Ji said guiltily, "Miss Hao, it's all this servant's fault." "Please," Yun Chujio waved her hand. "Don't talk about that. I have long disliked that idiot. Besides, I will naturally protect my people. I will kill whoever moves." Qin Lu and Qin Ji were touched by Yun Chujio's overbearing manner. They thought that they would definitely be at a disadvantage, but they did not expect Miss Fangchao to really stand up for them. "Alright, if you want to thank me, quickly get a boat and pick some lotus seeds for me. Don't worry, Mo Junshin, that idiot's legs are broken. He definitely won't bully you." Qin Ji quickly volunteered to borrow a boat to pick the lotus seeds while Qin Lu helped Yun Chujio arrange the food. Only then did Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin start eating breakfast. It wasn't breakfast anymore, it should be lunch. Mo Fangqin only ate a little and then stopped eating. Yun Chujio still didn't ask anything and continued to eat happily. After lunch, Mo Fangqin gritted her teeth. "Big sister, come in for a moment, I have something to tell you." Yun Chujio was secretly happy. The fish was finally going to take the bait. It was not easy to catch a mermaid. The two of them entered the house. Mo Fangqin said with a serious expression, "Sister, I used to think that you were a country bumpkin who couldn't do anything. But after getting along with you these days, I can see that you are an extremely smart person. This small Mo family will definitely not be able to trap you." "Hee, third sister, your flattery is no worse than mine. Say a few more words and let me enjoy myself." Yun Chujio said slyly. Mo Fangqin glared at her. "Eldest sister, be more serious. What I said is the truth. Originally, Luo Shi had asked me to monitor you, but now, I have decided to follow you from now on. I only have one request. It doesn't matter to me. You must think of a way to ensure my auntie's safety. As long as you agree to this, I will be at your disposal." Yun Chujio nodded. "Third sister, I am such a smart person, and it doesn't matter whether I have a follower or not. However, your filial piety towards Auntie Chio has touched me. Alright, I agree to you. As long as you are obedient, I will not only guarantee your auntie's safety, but I will also give you a bright future. Big sister, I will listen to you from now on." Mo Fangqin was inexplicably excited. Although Yun Chujio was still under the control of others, and although she was only at the second level of the spiritual venerable realm, she believed that Yun Chujio would definitely do it. Yun Chujio nodded her head in satisfaction. She had successfully captured one of her followers. This fellow was just that shameless. He had clearly planned this for a very long time, yet he spoke in such a nonchalant manner. Big sis, why did you make such a scene today? If you made such a scene, not only would grandmother and Imo Junshin hate you, father and Luosher would also hate you. Even the eldest and third wives would be unhappy with you. What exactly are you thinking? Imo Fangqin asked in puzzlement. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujio did not answer but asked instead, "Third sister, do you think grandfather is reliable?" Imo Fangqin was stunned and did not answer immediately. Instead, she thought for a moment and said, "Grandfather is the head of the Mo family, so he is naturally reliable. However, his protection for us should not be reliable because I really don't understand why he would allow you to be so ridiculous." Yun Chujio snapped her fingers. "Third sister, I told you that you are quite smart. You are right. Although grandfather's authority is supreme in the Mo family, he would not dote on me especially just because I look like a fairy." "Then what is the reason?" Mo Fankin's eyes twitched violently. "You are really shameless. Because of ambition. You also know that the Mo family's main family is in the Eastern continent. Grandfather is naturally unwilling to be trapped in the Western continent where the spiritual energy is sparse. Therefore, whenever there's an opportunity for the Mo family to rise up, he will not let it go. And I am that opportunity." Mo Fangqin could not help but curl her lips. "Big sister, although I think you're quite powerful, but aren't you saying something? How can a little girl from a lower continent like you allow the Mo family to return to the Eastern continent? I know you want to say that I'm shameless. Just say it. The greatest advantage of me is that I'm shameless. The reason why grandfather thought that I was an opportunity was because he must have tried all kinds of methods before this but failed. This was like a drowning person. Even if you threw a straw at him, he would still think that this was an opportunity. I am that life-saving straw." Yun Chujio said. She smiled brightly. Mo Fangqin was a little stunned. It was not because of Yun Chujio's appearance, but because of the confidence and flamboyance that she exuded from within. Mo Fangqin came back to her senses and continued to ask, "But you haven't told me why you're making such a fuss. You've offended almost everyone. Aren't you digging a hole for yourself? Third sister, you don't understand, do you? I'm now a rat crossing the street. I've offended all the people in the Mo residence. Only then can grandfather be at ease with me. It's impossible for a person like me to form an alliance with anyone for personal gain. I can only work for grandfather wholeheartedly," Yun Chujio said with a smile. "There's only one reason? Ahem, the rest of the reasons aren't worth mentioning. For example, I just don't like that idiot Imo Junshin. For example, I want to use the tiger's power to intimidate him. For example, I want to lure the snake out of its hole." "Lure the snake out of its hole?" Mo Fangqin was even more confused. "That's right. Didn't you say that father and second aunt brought me back for a reason? Once the news of me being valued by grandfather is spread, they definitely won't be able to sit still. They might rush over tomorrow. Of course, that idiot Imo Junshin was beaten by me. They will definitely come over to denounce him. I'm so scared." Mo Fankin's mouth twitched. No matter how she looked at it, she felt that the country bumpkin's expression was not one of fear, but eagerness. "Third sister, there's something I have to tell you first. Second aunt will definitely come to you to ask about what happened this time. She might even ask you to do something to frame me. If you don't agree, she will use Auntie Chio to threaten you. What will you do then? One side is your mother, and the other side is a peerless young lady. What do you choose?" Yun Chujio looked at Mo Fangqin and asked with a faint smile. It was originally a very serious and difficult question, but it was deflected by the peerless young lady. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Mo Fangqin finally managed to get her thoughts back on track. After pondering for a while, she said, "Big sister, since I've decided to follow you, I'll believe you. So, if mother really uses my aunt's life to blackmail me, I'll pretend to agree and tell you the truth. I believe that you'll think of a way to protect my aunt. Yun Chujio nodded her head in appreciation. Third sister, it seems that other than the old fox and I, you are the smartest person in the Mo family. Continue to work hard, I have high hopes for you. The corner of Mo Fankin's eyes twitched. The two of them chatted for a while longer before Lu Ji picked up the lotus seed pod. Yun Chujio immediately jumped into the courtyard to eat the lotus seed pod. After eating a few lotus seeds, this fellow did not like to eat them. This lotus seed pod was nothing more than a crisp and tender fragrance. It did not have any special taste. However, Qingji was afraid that Yun Chujio didn't have enough to eat, so she picked up a bunch of lotus seeds. Qingji rolled his eyes and put the lotus seeds into his storage ring. He then said to Mo Fangqin, "Third sister, let's go and gain some goodwill." Mo Fangqin followed Yun Chujio out of Tingxian as a follower. Soon, the two of them arrived outside Mo Ziyading's study room. "Grandfather, I've brought you some delicious food," Yun Chujio shouted as she pulled at her neck. The guard guarding the study room was dumbfounded. This Miss Fang Chao was truly a weirdo. They didn't even need to pass the message to her. She had her own voice function. Mo shouting gave them some face and asked the guard to let them in. "Grandfather, this is a freshly picked lotus seed pod. I didn't even have the heart to eat it, so I brought it here for you to try," Yun Chujio said with a smile. Mo Fangqin thought to herself, "This guy is so shameless. He can't bear to eat it? You're the one who's tired of eating it." Mo shouting may be ambitious and selfish and cold-blooded, but when he saw his granddaughter trying to curry favor with him, he felt a sense of relief. Mo shouting thought for a moment before taking out 2 mid-grade spirit tools from his storage ring. "I'll give them to you." Yun Chujio accepted the spirit tools and said with a smile, "Thank you, grandfather. We still have to visit grandmother, so we'll take our leave first." Mo shouting waved his hand and Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin stepped out. After walking a distance, Yun Chujio said proudly, "Third sister, did you see that? A few lotus pods were exchanged for 2 mid-grade spirit tools. Do you know what this means?" Mo Fangqin was at a loss. "What does it mean?" "This means that grandfather is very stingy. He actually only gave us 2 middle-grade spirit tools. I thought that he would give us 2 upper-grade spirit tools no matter what," Yun Chujio said while pouting. Mo Fangqin was speechless. "Is it really good for you to be so greedy? A few lotus seeds exchanged for 2 middle-grade spirit tools. What else do you want? Big sister, are we really going to visit Grandma? Grandma hates us to death now. If she sees us, won't she be angry? Aren't we walking into a trap? Don't worry. We have Grandpa's great amulet. She only dares to scold us verbally. If she wants to scold us, she can scold us. Anyway, there's a lot of meat left. Then let's go back and cultivate. Why do we have to pick up and scold her?" Mo Fangqin thought to herself. She had heard of people picking up money, but she had never heard of people picking up and scolding them. Could it be that country bumpkins were bored? "Third sister, you unfilial brat. Grandma is sick. Shouldn't we go and visit her? Stop dawdling and hurry up." Yun Chujio pouted and said. Mo Fangqin almost laughed out of anger. This country bumpkin's words sounded better than his singing. She definitely didn't have any good intentions. The two of them quickly arrived outside old Madame Liu's bedroom. Old Madame Liu's furious scolding was coming from inside. "Mo Fangchao, that little slut. What kind of sin did our Mo family commit to give birth to such an unfilial thing? Hurry up and send a letter to second brother. Let him, the father, teach this little slut a good lesson." Mo Fangchao shrunk her neck and looked at Yun Chujio. That meant that she was angry inside. Should she still go in under such circumstances? Yun Chujio bared her little white teeth at her and shouted excitedly, "Grandmother! Grandmother! I've come to see you. I've brought you something good." After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she did not bother with the maid on duty and directly rushed into the bedroom. Mo Fangqin had no choice but to follow her in. Old Madame Lu was sitting on the bed. When she saw Yun Chujio rushing in, She could not help but vent her anger. You damned little slut. You still dare to come? Granny Gao, capture these two little bitches for me. The old woman beside old Madame Lu was about to make a move when she heard that. Yun Chujio yelled, if you dare to touch a single hair on my head, grandfather will definitely kill you. Grandmother, I came to visit you out of the kindness of my heart. Grandfather also knows that I'm here to visit you. I advise you to calm down. Otherwise, my grandfather might find an aunt for my father and an aunt for me. You're talking nonsense. Granny Gao, tear off her filthy mouth. Old Madame Lu was so angry that she was trembling. She was most worried about Mo shouting taking in concubines. Grandmother, if you have the ability, then let her beat me up. It just so happens that grandfather has no reason to divorce you. At that time, you won't need to find an aunt anymore. You can marry her openly. Maybe next year, she can even give birth to a little uncle for me. Yun Chujio said with a smile without even trying to hide. I'm so angry. You little bitch, you are spouting nonsense. Although old Madame Lu said this, she did not let Granny Gao do anything. It was obvious that she had some misgivings. Granny Gao, keep these lotus pods for grandmother. It's bad for people to get angry all the time. Yun Chujio acted as if nothing had happened. She smiled and stuffed a large bunch of lotus pods into Granny Gao's hands. This fellow's style had changed so quickly that Granny Gao was confused. She subconsciously caught the lotus pods. Yun Chujio sighed. Grandmother, I came here this time to give you the lotus pods. Secondly, I want to talk to you from the bottom of my heart. If I don't say this, my heart will be filled with anxiety. I won't be able to eat well or sleep well. Old Madame Lu snorted. Eat well? Sleep well. I think you would like to anger me to death. Sigh. Grandmother, your words really hurt my heart, my liver, and my small body. You are my biological grandmother, and I am your biological granddaughter. Don't you think we are making a joke out of each other? Humph. Didn't you say that your grandfather would find you a step-grandmother? Old Madame Lu said through gritted teeth. Grandmother, I was just afraid that you would hit me. No matter how stupid I am, I don't want grandfather to find me a step-grandmother. If she gives birth to a little uncle, wouldn't she compete with my father for the family property? Grandmother, please calm down. I really came here this time to tell you from the bottom of my heart. If I am not kind to you, I will let the heavenly lightning strike me to death. The poison vow of taking the blame for 10,000 years appeared again. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Old Madame Lu saw that Yun Chujio had sworn an oath, so she snorted coldly. Speak. I want to hear what you have to say from the bottom of your heart. Grandmother, why don't you give me a seat? I've been chased away by this nanny gal this morning. I'm exhausted to death. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Old Madame Lu took a deep breath and gritted her teeth. Sit down. All right. Granny Gao, get someone to bring me a pot of tea and a few plates of snacks. Grandmother and I will chat while we eat. Granny Gao was holding a bunch of lotus pods in her hands. She felt that her brain wasn't enough. Didn't old Madam just shout for death? Why did she let that country bumpkin sit there in such a short time? She even wanted to drink tea? She even wanted to eat snacks? How could you be so thick-skinned? The old madam would definitely not agree. Grandmother, don't tell me you don't even have tea and snacks here? Forget it. Fortunately, I have prepared myself. I usually do things that I can do on my own and don't trouble others. As the fellow spoke, he took out a pot of tea and a plate of snacks from his storage ring. Yun Chujio ate 2 pieces of snacks and sipped on 2 cups of tea until old Madame Lu was about to fly into a rage. Only then did she say, Grandmother, I'm the most straightforward person. Just say what you have to say and don't pick on me. Say what you have to say and say what you have to say. Old Madame Lu was so anxious that she was sweating. What exactly was this little slut going to say? Grandmother, do you think that I was too vicious when I broke Jun Chen's leg today? Old Madame Lu heard Yun Chujio mention Mo Junchen and her anger immediately rose again. Yun Chujio quickly said, Granny Gao, Don't just stand there. You have nothing better to do. Peel the lotus seed pod for my grandmother and let her calm down. When Granny Gao saw that old Madame Lu did not object, she really helped old Madame Lu peel the lotus seed pod. Grandmother, although Junshin and I are not of the same mother, we are still siblings. Can I be that vicious? You don't know that even though I broke his leg, my heart is bleeding. Yun Chujio wiped her tears with her sleeve as she spoke. Mo Fangqin could not help but curse in her heart. This fellow's acting was really good. He cried just like that as if it was real. Old Madame Lu frowned suspiciously. The little slut looked really sad. What was going on? Grandmother, sigh. I'll tell you the truth. I'm not targeting you, nor my younger brother Junshin. I'm targeting second aunt. You must be wondering why I'm targeting second aunt when I have no enmity with her? I'm doing this for my father and also for Junshin. Although I wasn't brought back for a long time, I've heard some things. For example, my eldest uncle and my third uncle were filial to you and grandfather. Only my father ran to Jinchuan City to establish his own family. This must have been instigated by second aunt. She has no good intentions. Yun Chujio said angrily. Old Madame Liu's heart moved. If there was one thing she was most dissatisfied with about Madame Luo, it would be the matter of Madame Luo urging Mo Qing to move to Jinchuan City to establish his own family. Therefore, when she heard Yun Chujio mention this matter, she could not help but lean forward. Yun Chujio had been observing old Madame Liu's expression. When she saw the situation, she could not help but feel smug in her heart. The fish had taken the bait. Grandmother, there's a good saying. With your parents around, you won't be able to travel far, much less move to Jinchuan City to settle down. Second aunt kept saying that she was doing this for my father's good, but I could not see what was good about it. My father was ostracized by the other forces in Jinchuan City. How could he have the glory of first uncle and third uncle? Yun Chujio said with a twitch of her lips. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujio's face revealed an angry expression. Grandmother, our Mo family is definitely one of the best in this Fengli city. Why must second aunt urge my father to set up his own family? That's because she doesn't want to come over to pay her respects to you or listen to your teachings. She wants to be the mistress herself. She wants to avoid you. She just felt that there were no tigers or monkeys in the mountains that could call themselves kings. She wanted to be the master of her own house. You are so good at managing the house. You are so wise. If she were to live by your side, you would definitely point out her shortcomings. How could she be as glorious as she is now? You don't even know that second aunt is now amazing. Who doesn't have the right to address her as Madame Luo respectfully? How would they know that there's still you in the Mo residence? Slut. Second brother is a soft-hearted person. That slut will do whatever she says. I'm really angered to death. Old Madame Lu was so angry that she started cursing. She was originally dissatisfied with Lady Lu urging Mo Qing to establish his own family. Now that she heard Yun Chujio's words, she naturally could not contain her anger. Grandmother, please calm down. This body is the most important. Please continue listening to what I have to say. Firstly, I can't stand the fact that second aunt is unfilial to you. Secondly, I'm worried about my sister Fanghua and brother Junshin. Yun Chujio said bitterly. Old Madame Lu could not help but snort coldly. You don't have to be so hypocritical. Fanghua is outstanding among her peers, and Junshin is even more sensible. What are you worried about? Grandmother, let's talk one by one. Let's talk about my sister Fanghua first. Yes, Sister Fanghua does have high spiritual power, and she is as beautiful as a flower. However, the most important point is that second aunt has taught her badly. She doesn't put you in her eyes at all. Sometimes she doesn't even call you grandmother. She only talks about that damn old woman. She also says that you are rude and unworthy to be the mistress of the Mo family. You should hand over the power of the housekeeper to second aunt. What? Impossible. Fanghua has always been filial. How could she say that? It must be you, this little slut, slandering Fanghua. Old Madame Lu said angrily. Grandmother, why are you always so anxious? Please listen to me. I can't run away. You can find me at any time to settle the score. I reckon that my father and the others might come tomorrow. Sister Fanghua might also come. You can observe and see if I'm right. See if she doesn't put you in her eyes. Yun Chujio picked up her teacup and took a few sips. Firstly, she was thirsty, and secondly, she was secretly observing old Madame Liu's expression. Yun Chujio saw that although old Madame Liu said she didn't believe it, her expression was a little suspicious. Then she continued, Grandmother, I'll talk about Junchin after I finish talking about Fanghua. Junchin is the only boy in our two branches. Do you think I want dote on him? I will be married in the future. If anything happens, don't I still have to rely on Junchin as a younger brother? Old Madame Liu heard Yun Chujio's words and her heart grew more convinced. What this little slut said made sense. Her mother's family was a woman's backer. There was no reason for her to harm Junchin. Grandmother, the reason why I hit Junchin is really for his own good. Grandmother, I know that there are some things that I have said and you will definitely be unhappy. However, I still have to say some advice that is harsh to the ear. Although you have taught him well, how can second aunt, that short-sighted person, compare to you? Therefore, some of Junchen's bad habits are caused by second aunt. Yun Chujio was the best at avoiding the serious and making light of it. In any case, it was right to let Madame Luo take the blame. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Grandmother, let's talk about the truth behind closed doors. Junchin is already 13 years old, but his spiritual power is only at the 3rd level of the supreme spiritual stage. Don't you think it's a little low? Although he was young and unpredictable, he was really too naughty. Not to mention other things, he even dared to make a big fuss in front of his grandfather's study and even called himself Little Master. With his temper, if he were to go out and provoke someone extraordinary, it wouldn't be as simple as just breaking his legs. At that time, not only would he lose his life, even you and our MO residents would be implicated. At that time, it would be the end of our family. Grandmother, every time I think about this, my heart would turn 100 times. I wanted to say it, but I was afraid that you would be angry. I didn't want to say it, but I was really worried about Junchin. So, today, I might as well make a scene. Firstly, it will let Junchin learn his lesson. Secondly, it will give you a chance to teach second aunt a lesson. Yun Chujio said until here, and shed a few crocodile tears. Old Madame Liu frowned. Although she was unwilling, she felt that what Yun Chujio said made some sense. She doted on Mo Junchin very much. If not for today's incident, she would not have the patience to listen to Yun Chujio even if she was spouting all sorts of nonsense. However, when she recalled the scene where Mo Junchin's leg was broken by Yun Chujio today, if Mo Junchin had offended someone else today, it would not be as simple as just breaking his leg. What opportunity! Of course, old Madame Liu wasn't willing to attribute Mo Junchin's mischievousness to her doting, so she naturally agreed with Yun Chujio's words. All of this was caused by Madame Luo. Grandmother, I think you also know that second aunt brought me back to use me. My father was deceived by her and agreed to it. However, by doing so, she pushed my father to the edge of the cliff. I am my father's biological daughter. If this matter were to spread, how would people comment on my father's character? A vicious tiger would not eat its own son. This method is worse than a beast. Not only will my father's reputation be damaged, even your and grandfather's reputation will be affected. Who will benefit in the end? Isn't it still her second aunt? Maybe there is something going on with her family. Yun Chujio was completely clueless. She had heard a lot of things from the onlookers in Jinchuan City. After some polishing, she had pieced them together. Old Madame Liu was originally unhappy with the rise of Madame Luo's family. After hearing Yun Chujio's words, she immediately became suspicious. Could it be that that slut was really doing this for her family? No wonder the Luo family had risen over the past few years. Perhaps it was that slut who had dragged a lot of things into her family. How hateful! Grandmother, let me say one last thing to you from the bottom of my heart. It would be a lie to say that I don't hate second aunt. However, as long as she doesn't have any second thoughts about you and is honest in the future, I won't say anything more even if it's for little brother Junshin. Yun Chujio said sincerely. HMH, you are still sensible. Why didn't you tell me this before? Old Madam Lu believed Yun Chujio's words, so her attitude softened. Yun Chujio gave a wry smile. Grandmother, second aunt must have ruined my reputation. Even if I told you, you might not believe me. It was said that a granddaughter could not be separated until she was destroyed. After all that had happened, wouldn't the two of us become even closer? Matriarch Lu curled her lips. You said that this is a good opportunity to deal with Luoshi. What kind of opportunity is it? This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Grandmother, you are so wise. Do you still need me to show off? You are the mother-in-law and she is the daughter-in-law. As long as she enters the old residence, you can do whatever you want to her. You are too soft-hearted. That's why her plot succeeded. You have to be more ruthless to her. Although my father and Junshin might not be happy, but for the sake of the long-term plan, this is what you love about them. Yun Chujio said in a flattering manner. Old Madam Lu said with a little pride, You little girl, you sure know how to talk. Not bad, I'm just too soft-hearted. You're just a slut who was supported by a concubine. You're still letting me flatten you. Grandmother, I have a suggestion. Do you think it's appropriate? My third sister's aunt had a gentle personality. She was often bullied by second auntie. Originally, she could have given you a few fat grandsons. But because of second auntie's interference, my poor father did not dare to enter Auntie Chio's room. Find a catalyst to bring Auntie Chio to the old residence, and then call my father back if there's anything else. I believe that you'll have a plump grandchild next year. Moreover, you can also use this to teach Auntie Chio a lesson and let her know that you're not someone to be trifled with. No matter how powerful her family is, she still has to listen to you. After Yun Chujio said this, Mo Fankin's face instantly turned red. This country bumpkin was really shameless and dared to say anything. Old Madam Liu's heart stirred. As the matriarch of the Mo residence, she naturally hoped to have many children. Out of the 3 sons, Mo Qing had the fewest children. This last suggestion was not bad. This way, she might really have a few more fat grandsons. Furthermore, she might even be able to get Mo Qing to move back. At the same time, she might be able to teach Luoshi a lesson. What you said makes sense. They'll consider it. Old Madam Liu's tone had already softened considerably. At this moment, Yun Chujio stood up and pulled Mo Fangqin to bow respectfully to Old Madam Lu. Grandmother, your granddaughter offended you previously. Your granddaughter is in the wrong. Please forgive your granddaughter. Old Madam Lu saw Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin doing so, and the last bit of resentment in her heart also dissipated. She nodded. Forget it. I'm already so old. How can I really lower myself to your level? As long as you are obedient and don't bully Junshin, I will naturally dote on you. Grandmother, we still can't bear to dote on Junshin. How can we bully him? In a few days, when Junshin's injuries are better, we will go and see him again. We will definitely coax him to be happy. Yun Chujio said with a smile. If your hearts and your words are the same, I will not mistreat you. If I find out that you are lying to me, I will not forgive you. Grandmother, look at what you are saying. Firstly, we don't have the guts. Secondly, you are someone who doesn't know how to read between the lines. How can you not know whether we are sincere or fake? Yun Chujio said flatteringly. Old Madam Lu might have been too angry with Yun Chujio previously. She suddenly felt very comfortable after being flattered by Yun Chujio. Her head and buttocks were originally hurting, but now they were no longer hurting. Didn't your grandfather ask you to accompany him to read books? You can't dress too inappropriately, so I'll give these 2 sets of clothes to you. Old Madam Lu said as she took out 2 sets of clothes from her storage ring. One of the 2 sets of clothes was fiery red while the other was lake blue. Yun Chujio, this fellow, said with a smile, I like to be festive the most, so I'm thick-skinned enough to choose this red one. Third sister, I've wronged you by asking for that lake blue one. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Mo Fangqin smiled. Big sister, look at what you're saying. You're saying this on purpose because I like Lake Blue, right? Yun Chujia's expression froze and she sighed. Third sister, I know that you usually pick second sister's clothes to wear. It's not easy for you to like the color of the new clothes this time. How can I compete with you? Moreover, I really like red. Red is so festive. Perhaps our Mo residents will have a happy event soon. Old Madame Lu saw the two sisters humbly give in to each other. She was even more satisfied and dissatisfied with Madame Luo. Although Fangqin was the daughter of a concubine, she was too harsh. The money she saved might even be used to fill the Luo family. It was really detestable. Thank you for your reward, grandmother. You should rest well. We will take our leave first. We will come and pay our respects to you tomorrow after accompanying grandfather to finish reading, Yun Chujio said respectfully. You may leave. If you are not free tomorrow, you don't have to come over. There was no comparison, so there was no discrimination. Yun Chujia's previous appearance of a dead pig not afraid of boiling water was a stark contrast to her current appearance of obedience. Therefore, old Madame Lu looked particularly pleasing to the eye. Grandmother, how can that work? No matter how busy I am, I still have to come over and greet you. Granny Gao, take care of grandmother carefully. If you need me to do anything, send a maid to look for me. Yun Chujio shamelessly took on the role of a favored granddaughter automatically. She gave orders to Granny Gao. Granny Gao did not recover from her shock and nodded her head blankly. Damn it, this country bumpkin was so full of himself. Why did the old madam's attitude change so drastically? She was originally calling her a little slut. How did she become a little girl now? She was originally rebellious and unfilial. How did she become sensible now? She had wanted to kick him out of the Missouri estate, but now she had been rewarded with 2 sets of clothes? This Miss Fang Chao had angered the old madam to the point of death. She had even broken young Master Jun Chen's leg, and now everything was fine? Moreover, from the looks of it, not only did the old madam not hate her, she seemed to like her a little. Wasn't this a little too mysterious? The most unbelievable thing was that there hadn't been anything for Madame Luo to do here. How could the culprit be Madame Luo in such a short period of time? Granny Gao pinched herself secretly and grimaced in pain. Although all these things had happened in front of her eyes, she still couldn't believe that a person could change the world with just his words. This Miss Fang Chao was really a god. Although Granny Gao had a lot of thoughts in her mind, she didn't say anything. She wasn't stupid. Now Miss Fang Chao not only had the protection of the family head, but the old madam didn't seem to bother her anymore. If she said anything bad at this time, it would be asking for trouble. Although Mo Fangqin appeared very calm in the house, after leaving the main courtyard, her entire body trembled slightly. It wasn't fear but excitement. There was also an indescribable emotion. In short, her entire body was in a state of excitement. The country bumpkin actually said a lot of things. Not only did he resolve grandmother's hatred towards her, but he also transferred the hatred onto Mrs. Luo. Most importantly, he saved Aunt from that cannibal place. Although it wasn't completely safe to go to the old residence, at least Mrs. Luo didn't dare to do anything openly in the old residence. Aunt wouldn't be in any danger for the time being. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Mo Fangqin wanted to say something, but she did not know where to begin. Therefore, she excitedly followed Yun Chujio back to Tingxian. I originally thought that you were there to anger grandmother. I never expected that you were there to convince grandmother. How did you know that grandmother and Luo sure did not get along? Now that Mo Fangqin had a backbone, she might as well address Luo Shi directly. I guessed. Which parent wouldn't want their son to live closer to them? Even if the idea of starting a family was father's idea, grandmother would only blame second aunt. I was only fanning the flames. Then how did you know that grandmother would listen to your explanation? Aren't you afraid that grandmother will really arrest you and punish you? She wouldn't dare. Didn't you see that grandmother saw grandfather like a mouse seeing a cat? She wouldn't dare to go against grandfather. Moreover, what I said was all reasonable and reasonable. She would definitely believe it. Third sister, I'm telling you, as long as you give me the right opportunity, there's no one I can't fool. Yun Chujio said proudly. This fellow also felt that this matter was done too beautifully. It could be said to be killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Firstly, he had temporarily removed old Madame Liu's hostility. Secondly, he had successfully dragged Madame Luo down with him. Thirdly, he had even managed to rescue Auntie Chio. It was perfect. Mo Fangqin wanted to retort Yun Chujio, but she couldn't find any fault with her. This country bumpkin was simply too good. However, this is only a temporary victory. We need to continue working hard to consolidate our victory. Yun Chujio understood that Mo Shouting and old Madame Lu were both cold-blooded and heartless people. This pitiful impression of her could not be maintained for long. If she did not show her worth as soon as possible, Mo Shouting would quickly give up on her. At that time, she would once again fall into a dead end. But how should she show her worth? Alchemy? Talisman making? Puppets? Not afraid of being struck by lightning? Yun Chujio rejected every single one of them. Although these skills were valuable to Mo Shouting, it was very likely that they would put her in a new crisis. Who knows, Mo Shouting might even send her to some powerful organization and lock her up to serve them. Yun Chujio did not have any good ideas at the moment, but this person was very generous. In any case, she wouldn't have any problems for at least 8 to 10 days. She wanted to enjoy herself first. The next morning, after having breakfast, Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin arrived outside Mo Xiaoting's study room. Mo Shouting had not arrived yet, so the two of them naturally could not enter. They could only wait outside the courtyard. Yun Chujio did not let go of any opportunity to win their hearts. She turned to the guards and said, "Thank you for your help yesterday. These snacks are for you." The guards quickly declined. Yun Chujio smiled and said, "They are just some snacks. They are not worth much." Seeing that Yun Chujio insisted, the guards had no choice but to accept the snacks. They were more or less touched. It was not because of the snacks, but Yun Chujio's tone and words. Yun Chujio said, "Give rather than reward," which somehow made them feel comfortable. Mo Fangqin watched from the side and remembered what Yun Chujio said to her yesterday. "Third sister, never underestimate these small figures. Although they are weak and their positions are not firm, as long as you can make good use of them, they will be a huge force. Not only that, but you can also get a lot of useful information from them. Some of the information in the words that I lied to my grandmother was from the people in Jinchuan City. So, I have to use every opportunity to gain a good impression and gain sympathy." Just as Mo Fangqin was deep in thought, Mo Shouting arrived. "Grandfather, you're here. Did you sleep well last night? Did you have a good breakfast? It feels like we've been apart for a few years. I've missed you so much." Yun Chujio greeted him eagerly. As for the issue of shame and integrity, it had never been in his mind. What was more important than his life? "Go in." Mo Shouting was a little confused by Yun Chujio's enthusiasm. His grandchildren were like mice to a cat when they saw him. They were so timid that they couldn't even speak properly, let alone be so attentive. Yun Chujio winked at Mo Fangqin. She was trying to teach her a lesson. Mo Fangqin's heart was about to collapse. "Big sis, I won't be able to learn how to be so shameless even if I wait another 10 years. You are so shameless." The guards' faces also turned stiff. This Miss Fangchao was really lively. After the three of them entered the study room, Yun Chujio immediately pretended to wipe the desk and ordered the maids to make tea. She was extremely busy. "Grandfather, the morning air is the freshest. You should open the window to get some fresh air. Don't mind your granddaughter's blabbering. Although this is an important business, your health is more important. How can your body withstand the fatigue of working day and night? There's no end to this matter. It's best to combine work and rest." Mo Shouting sat in his chair as he watched Yun Chujio busily work like a little bee. As he listened to Yun Chujia's incessant mumbling, he strangely did not feel annoyed. Instead, he felt a trace of filial piety. Mo Shouting could not help but laugh at himself. It was a joke that he only felt a trace of filial piety towards his newly found granddaughter despite having so many children and grandchildren. His 3 sons treated him with respect not because they were filial, not because they admired him, but because they were afraid, because of the benefits. Because only by pleasing him would they gain more benefits and be able to inherit the Mo family in the future. The grandchildren were either afraid, or because they were following their parents' orders to please him. None of them were filial from the bottom of their hearts. Mo Shouting was deep in thought. He naturally knew that Yun Chujio was doing this to please him and to find a backer. However, he could still feel a trace of sincerity and filial piety. If she wasn't truly thinking of him, how could she have thought of such a detail like opening a window? If Mo Shouting knew Yun Chujio's intention of opening the window, he would probably be so angry that he would vomit blood. Although Yun Chujio had opened the window to catch her breath, the most important thing was that when she had arrived yesterday, she had discovered a spirit fruit tree outside the courtyard. The fruit was red and big. It looked very tempting. Only by opening the window could she take the opportunity to bring up the topic of the fruit tree so that she could eat it. It had to be said that this was a beautiful misunderstanding. After a while, Yun Chujio finally calmed down. "Grandfather, please take care of your business. 3rd sister and I will wait on you from the side. If there's anything you need, feel free to let us know." Mo Shouting nodded and began to take care of his business. The Mo residence was a powerful organization, so it naturally had many businesses and shops. Every day, someone would send over all sorts of news. Mo Shouting wasn't satisfied with his 3 sons, so he only handed over some unimportant businesses to the 3 of them. Most of the work was done by himself. Mo Shouting was busy with his official business, so Yun Chujio couldn't sit still for a while. Yun Chujio glanced at the bookshelf. There were many books on it, and her heart skipped a beat. She didn't know much about the immortal Yuan continent, so it was a good opportunity for her to learn more. Yun Chujio's eyes darted around. Mo Fankin's heart skipped a beat. What was this guy trying to do? Ahem, grandfather, can 3rd sister and I look at the books on the shelves? Yun Chujio asked carefully. Mo Shouting couldn't help but laugh. It's grandfather's fault for being careless. Since he asked you to come over and read with me, of course you can look at the books on the shelves. But be careful when you look at them. Don't get them dirty. Grandfather, don't worry. We are all good children who cherish books. Yun Chujio happily pulled out a book to read. Mo Fangqin also chose a book she was interested in. After a while, Mo Fangqin found that Yun Chujio changed a book. A moment later, Yun Chujio changed a book. A moment later, Yun Chujio and changed a book. In a short while, Yun Chujio changed several books. Mo Fankin's eyes twitched. What the hell are you doing this time? Although Mo Fangqin was curious, she did not dare to make a sound. She was afraid of disturbing Mo Shouting. Mo Shouting noticed that Yun Chujio was switching books frequently and could not help but shake his head. Yun Chujio's personality was a little off. She was probably just looking at the pictures inside. It was almost noon and Mo Shouting was out for work. Naturally, Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin could not stay in the study room, so they had no choice but to leave. After leaving the study room, Yun Chujio looked at the spiritual fruit on the tree and swallowed her saliva. She already knew that it was a scarlet cloud fruit. Although it wasn't of a high grade, its juice was plentiful and its taste was delicious. The fellow comforted himself. There was plenty of time in the future and he couldn't afford to be impatient. Only then did he reluctantly walk out of the study room. Mo Fangqin saw Yun Chujio walking towards the main courtyard and said in confusion, "Big sis, it's time for lunch. Let's go back and have lunch before we greet grandmother." Idiot. The food at grandmother's place is definitely better than ours. Let's go and freeload. We might even be able to watch a good show. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Watch a show? Watch what good show? We'll know when the time comes. Hurry up, if grandmother finishes eating, we won't be able to freeload. After saying that, Yun Chujio dragged Mo Fangqin and ran away. Mo Fangqin had no choice but to follow Yun Chujio and run to the main courtyard like a crazy girl. Running around the courtyard for a meal, Mo Fangqin felt that her moral integrity had already left her. When the maid on duty saw that the two of them were about to go in to pass the message, Yun Chujio shouted, "Grandmother! Grandmother! We have come to pay our respects. Come in." Inside the house, old Madame Lu was about to have lunch when she heard Yun Chujio's voice. She couldn't help but frown. This little girl really came? "Grandmother, did you sleep well yesterday? Did you have a good breakfast? We haven't seen each other for a night. It's as if we haven't seen each other for several years. I really missed you," Yun Chujio said obsequiously. The corner of Mo Fangqin's eyes twitched violently. "Big sister, is it really okay for you to copy what you said to grandfather? Won't you change it a little?" Old Madame Lu pursed her lips. "This little mouth of yours is really sweet. I don't know if it's real or fake." "Grandmother, as time goes by, you will know if I am truly filial. Third sister and I did not even have lunch to greet you. Do you think we are sincere?" As he spoke, he peeked at the dishes on the table. He cursed in his heart. This old lady was really extravagant. She actually had so many dishes on her own. Hearing Yun Chujio's words, old Madame Lu finally had a smile on her face. "Are you still going to accompany your grandfather to read in the afternoon? Grandfather has something to attend to, so we don't have to go over in the afternoon. Grandmother, you should eat quickly. If the dishes get cold, it will affect your taste and it will also be bad for your stomach," Yun Chujio said with a smile. The smile on old Madame Liu's face deepened. "All right, you little girl are quite attentive. Grandmother, actually, this person has two sides of being attentive and careless. That's why I don't take him seriously. I'm usually the most temperamental, but when it comes to matters between you and grandfather, I naturally have to be attentive." This fellow had never been stingy and boasting about himself. What a joke. If you don't say something, how would others know? The fragrance of wine was afraid of the depth of the alley. "You little monkey, you really know how to talk. Since you guys haven't eaten, let's eat together. Anyway, there are so many dishes." Old Madame Lu scolded with a smile. "Hee hee, grandmother, you're really amazing. Did you guess that I'm here for lunch? I can't help it. Who asked you to have delicious dishes here?" Yun Chujio said with a cheeky smile. Old Madame Lu scolded her with a smile and asked the maid to add 2 more chairs. The 3 of them sat down to eat lunch. Granny Gao was dumbfounded. Yesterday, old Madame Lu was still shouting about fighting and killing. Today, they were sitting together to eat? This title had been upgraded from a little girl to a little frisky monkey? This was completely a nickname. No matter what, this Miss Fang Chao had sent a big bunch of lotus seeds yesterday. Today, she didn't take anything and just left to eat lunch? Granny Gao boldly guessed that it would not be long before Miss Fang Chao would become the most favored granddaughter. Perhaps, only young Master Junchen would be more favored than her. The rest of her grandchildren would be further behind. As the 3 of them were eating, Yin Hong walked in and reported, "Old Madam, First Madam, Second Madam, Third Madam, and all the young misses are here to see you." Old Madame Lu was taken aback. "Luo sure is here?" "Yes, not only Second Madam is here, Miss Fanghua is here as well." Yun Chujio blinked her eyes, she lowered her voice and said, "Grandmother, it's a little strange. Why are they here together? Could it be that second aunt went to first aunt and third aunt first? Logically speaking, second aunt and sister Fanghua should have come to see you directly when they came. How could they go past you to see their peers?" Old Madame Liu's anger was immediately roused. She slammed the table. "That slut. She must have gone to the eldest and third daughter-in-law to fan the flames again. She definitely doesn't have any good intentions." "Grandmother, that's not necessarily the case. Perhaps second aunt went to ask what exactly happened yesterday." Yun Chujio explained openly, but in reality, she was adding fuel to the fire. "Won't she just ask me directly? This bitch might be taking advantage of this opportunity to take Junshin back. She's getting the eldest and third daughter-in-law to speak up for her. How outrageous. Yun Chujio was secretly happy. Damn it, this old woman's imagination was too strong. This time, there would be a good show to watch. Second aunt, Mo Fanghua, don't let me down. You're courting death. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Grandmother, you are really too wise. What you said makes sense. How about this? You send them to the living room and we will sing a good show so that you can test her intentions. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and said, Sing a good show? What do you mean? Old Madame Lu asked in confusion. Yun Chujio mumbled to herself. Old Madame Lu thought for a moment before nodding. In Hong, ask them to wait in the living room. Tell them that'll be there after lunch. Yes. Hearing In Hong's words, Madame Luo and the others could only rush to the living room to wait. Sister-in-law, did father really approve of Feng Chao? Madame Luo still couldn't believe it. The bumpkin had only been here for 2 days and Mo shouting already approved of her. How was this possible? Second sister-in-law, I don't know if father appreciated her or not, but he really did ask her and Fang Qin to accompany him to the study room to read. Wu Shi gloated in her heart. This bitch was only promoted by her concubine. What right did she have to be on the same level as me? This time, her son's leg had been broken and Feng Chao and Fang Qin had even beaten Feng Hua. How satisfying! At the side, Lady Niu's eyes flashed with a gloating light. She said with a fake smile, second sister-in-law, that Feng Chao was really ruthless. She directly broke Jun Chen's leg. Although mother wanted to punish that Feng Chao, father protected her, so there was nothing she could do. Madame Luo's eyes couldn't help but redden. On one hand, she felt sorry for her son, and on the other hand, she hated Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin. Even old Madame Lu hated them. It was all this old fart's fault. If she didn't have to bring Junchen over, would Junchen have suffered this? Usually, she always talked about how to pamper Junchen. Now that Junchen's leg had been broken by that slut, she didn't even let out a fart. Just as everyone was talking, old Madame Lu came in from outside the door. After old Madame Lu sat down, Madame Luo and Mo Fanghua came over to greet her. Old Madame Lu saw that Mo Fanghua was very perfunctory in her greeting, and her expression was arrogant. She thought of Yun Chujio's words in her heart, and her face immediately became gloomy. This Fanghua really didn't put her, this grandmother, in her eyes. She was really detestable. Old Madame Lu said coldly, "Why did you come over? Where's Cheng?" "Mother, husband came with us. As soon as we entered the city, we met Big Brother." "Husband followed Big Brother to the Satin Manor," said Madame Luo. "Then why didn't you come to see me directly when you and Fanghua entered the city?" asked old Madame Lu with a gloomy face. Madame Luo couldn't help but be stunned. Her expression was a bit unnatural. She paused for a moment and then said, "Mother, I saw that it was lunchtime, so I didn't come to disturb you. I went to sister-in-law's place to sit for a while." Old Madame Lu snorted coldly. "You should be thinking of an old woman like me. Sit down." Madame Luo's heart thumped. What did this old fogey mean? Mo Fanghua frowned. She saw that old Madame Lu was very unhappy with Madame Luo's sarcasm. She thought for a moment and said, "Grandmother, I heard that Junchen was beaten up by a country bumpkin. I want to go and see Junchen." Old Madame Lu smacked the table. "How dare you? You want to leave right after coming here. Do you take me, your grandmother, seriously?" Usually, although Mo Fanghua was not as favored as Mo Junchen, she had never been reprimanded in such a manner. Her face immediately flushed red as she argued, "Grandmother, I'm only worried about Junchen. I have no other intentions." Old Madame Lu was even angrier. "How dare you talk back? Luo Shi, you have taught your daughter well." "Fanghua, why aren't you apologizing to Grandma?" Madame Luo saw that the situation wasn't right and quickly winked at Mo Fanghua. When old Madame Lu saw this, she became even angrier. It was just as Feng Chao had said, Fenghua's good child had been spoiled by this slut. Mo Fanghua's eyes were slightly red as she said stiffly, "Grandma, I was wrong. All of you have grown up and grown up. How can you put an old woman like me in your eyes?" Old Madame Lu said with a strange tone. "Mother, look at what you are saying. You are still young. If you were to say that you are our elder sister, people would believe you." Madame Luo was truly at a loss. What was this old fogey trying to do? No matter how she praised her for her youth, this trick was always effective. Clang. Old Madame Lu slammed her teacup to the ground. "Luosher, you bitch. Are you trying to be on equal footing with me?" Old Madame Lu nearly exploded from anger. This was because she recalled that Yun Chujio had said that Madame Luo wanted to vie for the authority of the family. Now she was talking about elder sister. Wasn't it obvious that she wanted to be on equal footing with her? It had to be said that old Madame Liu's imagination was really strong. The main reason was that she was already dissatisfied with Madame Luo. Now her dissatisfaction was magnified. Madame Luo was on the verge of collapse. What was wrong with this old fogey? How could he not be able to tell that he was lying? "Mother, please calm down. I was wrong." Madame Luo had no choice but to admit her mistake and get through this first. "You were wrong? How can you be wrong? How capable are you? You forcefully instigated second brother to move to Jinchuan City. The two children who were perfectly fine were taught badly by you. You shameless slut." Madame Luo had been living in luxury in Jinchuan City all these years. In addition, her mother's family's influence was constantly growing, and her back had hardened. Hearing old Madame Lu humiliate her like this, her anger couldn't help but rise. Mother, father, and you agreed to move to Jinchuan City back then. Besides, what's wrong with Fanghua and Junchen? Fanghua was considered outstanding among the younger generation in the Western continent. Junchen was indeed a little mischievous, but that was all because of you. Did I teach him? Old Madame Lu was so angry that she was trembling. "Bitch. Could. You really have grown wings. You actually dare to talk back to me. According to what you said, Jun Chen's leg is broken. Is it also because of me?" "Mother, there are some things that a daughter-in-law shouldn't say, but since you asked, I can only tell you the truth. Firstly, Jun Chen has spent most of these years growing up in the old mansion. You have to bear a lot of responsibility for his mischievous character. Secondly, Jun Chen's legs were broken by Fang Chao right under your nose. Won't you let someone stop him?" Madame Luo thought that since they had already fallen out, there was nothing to be afraid of. Besides, she had her mother's family backing her up now, so the Mo residents wouldn't dare to do anything to her. "Slut. Kneel down. Nanny Gao, bring me the family law." Old Madame Lu was so angry that she almost passed out. It was just as Fang Chao had said. The culprit behind all of this was this slut. When Madame Luo heard what old Madame Lu said, she immediately said, "Mother, I think you're most likely not in good spirits today, so your words are a little chaotic. Since that's the case, Fanghua and I will go to the Luo residence to stay for a few days first. When your anger has subsided, we will return." After Madame Luo finished speaking, she did not care whether old Madame Lu agreed or not. She directly took Mo Fanghua and left. "It's the other way around. It's the other way around. This bitch. I'm so angry." Old Madame Lu was so angry that she almost passed out. Wu Shi and Lady Niu did not know how to persuade old Madame Lu when they saw how angry she was. They were afraid that they would get into trouble. Old Madame Lu became even angrier when she saw that all of them were motionless like wooden stakes. It seemed that they were just like that slut. They all wished for me to die as soon as possible so that they could divide the family fortune. What a bunch of slut. At this moment, Yun Chujio rushed in from outside. "Grandmother. My dear grandmother, what's wrong with you? Your anger is hurting your body. Quickly calm down." Mo Fankin's mouth twitched as she followed her in. She thought to herself, "You're asking even though you know the answer. Isn't this all part of your plan?" Yun Chujio rushed to old Madame Liu's side. She coaxed and advised, "Grandmother, don't be angry. If you're angry, won't you be punished by someone?" Someone is like a grasshopper after autumn. No matter how much they jump, they won't be able to escape from your palm. It's not that you can't beat her, it's just that you are too merciful and soft-hearted. There's still plenty of time in the future. I won't be angry, I won't be angry. If you are angered to the point that your body is damaged as your granddaughter, my heart will ache to death. Old Madame Lu let out a long sigh. You are still the filial monkey, that slut from the Luo Shi. And that Feng Hua is infuriating me to death. Wu Shi, Niu Shi, and company had their eyes wide open. Their mouths were agape. Oh God, in just a night, how did the world change? Didn't the old madam still yell at this country bumpkin yesterday? Didn't she call him a little slut? Why did she become so affectionate today? Little monkey? This was obviously a nickname. What exactly happened? Yun Chujio saw that old Madame Lu was almost done being angry, then she said to Wu Shi, Niu Shi, and the others, First aunt, third aunt, I didn't do what I said yesterday. Please don't take offense. Yesterday, grandmother taught me a lesson. I have already learned my mistake. In the future, I will definitely be filial to grandmother and take good care of little brother Junshin. Wu Shi and Niu Shi were dumbfounded. What the hell was going on? Old Madame Lu snorted coldly, Didn't you hear Feng Chao apologizing to you? Why are you still standing there? Feng Chao, it's good that you know your mistake. It's good that you know your mistake. Wu Shi and Niu Shi felt as though they had been bickering in their hearts. Why did the two of them, who were incompatible with each other yesterday, suddenly turn into grandfathers and grandsons? Eldest brother, third brother, that slut Luo Shi has returned to her home. What should we do? Asked old Madame Lu with a cold expression. Wu Shi and Madame Niu exchanged glances. Wu Shi said, Mother, second sister-in-law is clearly unhappy with you. I reckon that only second brother can bring her back from the Luo residence. Mother, second sister-in-law's rebuke to you clearly shows that she doesn't take you seriously. You shouldn't have allowed second brother to bring her back. It's better to leave her alone for a few days. Wu Shi and Niu Shi wished for the matter to blow up. This way, the second branch would not be able to compete with them for the family assets. Upon hearing the duo's words, old Madame Lu became even angrier. Is there a need for you to say all this? What's the point of keeping her in the dark? Won't others judge her? What I want is for that slut, Luo Shi, to bow her head and admit her mistake. Wu Shi and Niu Shi frowned. Luo Shi was clearly planning to shed all pretense of cordiality. How could she possibly come back to bow her head and admit her mistake? Besides, she still had the Luo family backing her up. You two are useless. Feng Chao, tell grandmother. Do you have any way to make that slut admit her mistake to grandmother? Matriarch Lu looked at Yun Chujio, who was standing to the side. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.